Papua LNG given the all clear to proceed. Proposed resource law amendments will not affect existing license holders. And police prevent a protest from escalating.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening, this is Wednesday's news. Thank you for joining us. The passage of amendments to the Papua LNG project today in Parliament now paves way for the developer Total SA and partners to move this project forward. A satisfied Prime Minister James Marape announced this following the passage of the amendments to certain parts of the Papua LNG-related bills today in Parliament. The passing of these amendments also means all outstanding government commitments to this project is complete.
Parliament passed 10 Papua LNG-related bills in October last year. However, 3 of these bills contained grammatical or spelling errors, which substantially changed the meaning of the Act. Developer of Papua LNG, Total, insisted these errors be corrected before they move in to develop the project. While it took a year for the amendments to be made, Petroleum Minister Kerangakua said the passage today will greatly help in getting this project online and subsequently help the economy recover.
The passage of these bills are very important because without them, the project implementation cannot proceed. And the Prime Minister will speak more on this in a moment. But it's important that we move the project through the implementation phases so that that activity can also generate cash into the economy and we can start to build up our battered economy, an economy that's been battered by the COVID-19.
The government negotiated a 2% production levy in this project, apart from the royalty, equity and the development levies, and the passage of amendment bills today also saw changes to certain provisions of the Oil and Gas Act and the Income Tax Act to cater for this.
What we've done is we've also amended the Oil and Gas Act and the Income Tax Act to consolidate it and strengthen those additional benefits so that it makes implementation easier. And then the 2% production levy, which is an additional benefit, will flow on through our government.
Prime Minister James Marape thanked the 90 members of Parliament who stayed right throughout this session to vote for these amendments and briefly highlighted the benefits his government has gained from this project through negotiations.
And we've also secured, I think, a few more additional winners on top of what was already locked in, including better deal for domestic market gas, clearer and better definition of pipeline shipping, local content. For instance, discussions on pipeline and shipping as a local content business for our local landowners and provincial government and national government entities. So there were some winners on the side when we took office, but today this passage of these bills were absolutely necessary to allow Total to move in with all laws envisaged under the gas agreement now given final clearance by Parliament.
Total executives are expected to visit the country in the coming weeks, and Marape thanked the developer and its partners for their patience.
Parliament's business is finished now. Now it's for us to go to the next phase to talk about the development agreement, to work with landowners, to work with provincial government, to work with Total to progress into the next phase of Papua LNG.
Partners in the Papua LNG project include Total, ExxonMobil and Oil Search. Governor of the Papua LNG host province, Chris Iveta, also welcomed the passage of the bills today and hopes the developer can move this project forward at the earliest.
And I hope that happens sooner so that this project can commence and the investments that are needed, especially in the early stages, do come in to support our economy.
Ruth Rongola, National EMTV News.
Proposed amendments to the resource laws, both in the mining and petroleum sectors, will not affect existing license holders in resource projects around the country. These amendments are expected to be implemented in the year 2025, and the Prime Minister James Marape assured resource industries about this. He said licenses obtained and are in operation under the existing regime will continue to operate under existing laws. Marape was responding to questions of how far the government was in changing the current laws on royalty and tax regime to a production sharing regime.
We allow the projects that we have that has been secured under existing regime to get off the ground first. And all the law that Minister Kua has been authoring is now doing its round amongst all stakeholders. And when the final stage is prepared, then we will bring it through the floor. But let me assure every investor who are in country, those licenses, whether it's a development stage license or exploration license that has been secured under existing regime, will run its full course. This law that we are mooting is a law that is prospective. Once passed, it will be for new projects going on into the future. And we're looking at full implementation of these laws in 2025. We're not stupid here. We're not reckless. Are not here to chase away investors who are in our country or the goalposts in midlife through whether it's a contract period or exploration period. So there's no radical shift or changing the goalposts right in the middle of a contract or in the middle of a legitimately issued license.
Health Minister Sir Pukatemo was put on notice regarding a number of critical issues within the department in Parliament today. The Oro Governor, as well as members for Nuku and Pomio, all directed their questions without notice to the Health Minister.
Up to 200 people are die law, snake bite.
In today's Parliament sitting, the Health Minister was heavily bombarded with a number of different issues that falls under the Department of Health's prerogative, starting with Governor for Oro Gary Jufa inquiring about the recent closure of the Toxicology Centre and the government's plan going forward.
Is you aware of this plan? Now, suppose you are aware enough, you talk out one something by ministry, you walk him law, straight him situation so that this service can go yet, work project can go yet now. People can ensure that all line blow you me only non-up dialogue, snake bite every year.
The Health Minister responded, stating that he was surprised of the closure and that he would make an undertaking to find out the actual status of the centre.
And so I can assure the Honourable Governor and the Honourable House that I will take a further briefing on the basis for the closure, whether the Australian government has actually withdrawn and the term that they have given to support this laboratory has expired. And definitely, as far as the national government is concerned, we want to take charge and we want to continue to support this important research.
A separate question by member for Nuku Joe Sungi put yet the Health Department under the spotlight regarding rural recruitment, workforce and a differentiation between church and government health workers and facilities.
Do you have any plans at all for us to absorb all the church health workers, starting from the doctors down to the CSWs in the entire country, to be absorbed into the public service?
The Health Minister clarified, explaining the two separate components and why the church and state cannot be merged together.
Our understanding in negotiating this support was that the church health services do a better job than the government managed services in the country, and I think all of us agree to that. Yeah. And therefore, we did not want to bring, in terms of the question that the Honourable Member for Nuku is asking, whether we should bring the church health workers into the public service.
His response led to a further supplementary question by Pomio MP, also former Health Minister Elias Kabovore, on the government's plan to engage the unemployed health workers to facilities around the country.
Many of these graduates who are coming out from many of our institutions today to some of these health facilities, what is the plan? There are many health workers today who remain unemployed. and they are still looking for a job everywhere in the country. What is the plan of the Department of Health to engage?
The minister acknowledged the question, admitting that the process of recruitment has been badly managed over the years and that such challenges are expected, highlighting further plans going forward for the department in that regard.
We will now have to make sure that the provincial health authorities, whichever province you are in, you and your board, the CEO in particular, and the provincial administrator, you will now have to make sure that your provincial health authority structure is done according to your needs. Because you have to also now know how many vacancies are there and how many facilities don't have staff. You are in the position to do that, not the Department of Health.
Annette Cora, National EMTV News.
Gulf Governor Chris Haiveta also queried the lax laws ensuring all telecommunications infrastructure are made available to all carriers. His question was directed to SOE Minister Sasindran Mutavel, with the Communications Minister put on notice.
Towers of the provincial government.
A matter of importance that the governor has tried to negotiate time and again, the adamant Gulf governor was insistent in today's sitting that a policy be put in place to ensure that the telecommunications platforms be shared by all major communication carriers around the country.
It is like having public funds given to a private company, and that private company then puts that road in, and that road belongs to that company. It charges everyone else to the exclusion of the rest of the country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this passing, good for passing, and it must stop.
Admittedly, state-owned enterprise Minister Sasindran Mutavel responded, stating that it is by time the government came up with regulations and a new law in terms of tower sharing agreement, which PNG currently does not have.
It's every company wants to establish any telecommunication, they have to spend billions of kina to build their own towers. We would rather encourage a tower sharing agreement through government legal framework, whereby whether it's a provincial government built towers or private companies built tower or telecoms towers, all can be shared so that the goods and services can reach, especially the communication services, becomes cheaper.
Additionally, stating that the SOE Ministry will be in dialogue with the Gulf Governor and bring this to the attention of the Communications Minister to have a working policy framework in place.
I thank the Governor, and I will certainly take this one to the attention of Communication Minister. He has been working on this policy and is almost about to conclude and finish the draft legislation on this particular tower sharing and number portability, and we are also working with our development partners to get this legislation done.
Annette Cora, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Among stories after the break, police in NCD stop opportunists from causing a riot. Details after the break. Welcome back. Police in Port Moresby prevented a situation that could have escalated into a riot at the Boroko police station. The incident this morning involved angry relatives of a man said to have been killed in a crossfire when police confronted a PMV driver overloaded with passengers. The family of the deceased man brought his body to the station, claiming he was shot by policemen.
At 9:30 this morning, relatives of the deceased man brought his body to the Boroko police station, but were advised to take the body back to the Port Moresby General Hospital morgue. This sparked a commotion, and police closed off all roads leading into the Boroko station. Shops and offices along the Angau Drive were also closed.
Na hol garim desla body cam. Come straight lo police station. Na holi pairabim desla gun inu isi long. Pairabim gun. Na kilimol na hol habim tasol na drobim desla body long kolta. Na lusim na
As confirmation from police reports, the incident is a result of a confrontation between a police unit and the driver of a PMV said to be overloaded. The police unit spotted the overloaded PMV at ATS in the Mosby Northeast Electorate and signaled for the PMV driver to pull over. However, the PMV driver sped past and that led to a police chase.
NCD Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. says that police unit came under attack and a man from Enga was shot and killed during the commotion. The situation is now under control after police officers from the NCD Command met with relatives of the deceased at Atheist today. Business houses and offices in the Boroko area resumed for business after 11 a.m. today. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
At least 70 youths in the Transgogol area of Medang district were sworn in to work as law and order officers to help maintain peace. The youth are from 3 different ward areas in Transgogol.
Two of these officers will be invited to become police reservists. The local member plans to have another 4 reservists once a rural lockup is set up.
Usai them outstanding, whether you or the salon or the committee, but we invite you to come up police reservists, now by you got uniform. I'm clear? Bien go, we plus up in rural lockup, but you got 4 plablo you by come up police reservists. So 2 regular police by staff lawyer. You play 4 by a system. Then you play work good, go. This is 4 reservice. 2 you can come up regular member. Now another 2 regular member staff lawyer can go back to work later.
The officers also have committee members where they will be meeting to carry out awareness on law and order in the Transgogol area. The youths will be given a 3-month period to carry out awareness. After the 3 months, only 10 active youths will continue in the program.
Law and order is number 1 something. Mama can talk to the market, but time you like losing market na kakala bloka you by worry.
The minister also took the time to explain to the Transgogol community the newly purchased 12 Nissan Patrol for police. 4 of those vehicles will be used within the town vicinity, while 8 will be used in Medang Rural. Masaluis, National EMTV News.
The Public Health Director for Morobe has given a list of reasons why the main building of the WOW Health Centre has not been fixed after it was condemned in 2015. Micah Yawing said maintenance work was delayed due to COVID-19. He says work will begin in 2021.
The condemned WOW Health Centre was budgeted for under Morobe's 10-year health plan, however was not upgraded due to COVID-19. According to Morobe's Public Health Director, the COVID-19 pandemic interrupted maintenance plans for the deteriorated colonial infrastructure.
When you look at a situation like when some of the facilities in WOW was built by colonial administration, and in terms of improvement, it takes a while, but in terms of planning, it's part of the plan to make sure that we improve it, because without meeting the standard, we cannot deliver effective service to our people. So
the Colonial Health Centre in WOW was built in the 1950s and was handed to the PNG government after independence. The last upgrade to the health centre was in 2008. This building has been condemned twice already. Services are still being provided out of extended buildings. Up to 40,000 people come here every year.
This facility and Keitalo triple LLGs na facility emino allow mipla lo LP moldes la line 2. So mipla like something emasenis.
The Morobe's public health sector is now engaging in partnerships to help meet the cost of upgrading the health center.
Eventually, like when partnership with government, like district, like the SIP, or partnership with loan agencies, or partnership with mining as well. So now mining are ready to, we have a discussion with them already. They come up with a plan to improve maternal health, so they're going to build a building to support. And
Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Leh.
Women from Bomu community in Kabum district, Morbe, have called on authorities to ensure access to healthcare services are available. Local midwife Rosalina Tapi told EMTV News a lot of women die during childbirth due to no access to health facilities. With the poor road condition, most women die along the way before reaching the Kabum Health Center.
In Papua LNG of Kabum district, healthcare is difficult to reach. These women from Bomu community said there are no health facilities in the area. The only 8 posts closed since 2015. The only health worker died and no one was sent to replace him. Midwife Rosalini Tapi said many women died during childbirth.
How she can stop close to road condition below road hemino come up go to mass. Na atlong all by kisim halivim haria planting mama I been losing blood, losing life one time. All been losing life, planti blomipla, all been losing life, planti blomipla. Oli kisim bipla bagarap, pilimpen pontem, walking bet na karem oligo.
Tripla boys me karem, mino karem go to semol mama sa karem beginning. Misa pilimpen lo karem, but misa karem go to PPI lo beginning sa still sa sabin sa lo bel blomiet long. Kisim help him, but time papa sa ringing mo line lo time lo kam help him.
Kabum district is one of the 9 districts in Morbe. It has 4 local level governments and 5 health centers, including Kabum Health Center, that serves a population of over 15,000. Papua LNG is made up of 18 communities, including Bomu. The locals from Bomu walk for almost a day to access health services here at the Kabum Health Center. There are no PMVs here because the road condition deteriorated, making it difficult for PMVs to operate.
Now inside the community, cry blue milo inside the community, young plan mana, young plan Mary, me no like all by step inside the kind situation. Cry blue milo, schools Martin, cry blue milo. Olapun mana Mary, cry blue live by senis.
In Bomu, not many people know about family planning or how to stop preventable diseases. The women are calling on the Morbe provincial government, the provincial health authority, and the health department to address these concerns. Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News.
On a positive note, a mother in the Nipa Kutubu district in Southern Highlands province gave birth to her baby at 1 a.m. this morning on the roadside while on her way to the nearest health center by foot. The mother had walked from Tubage village, roughly an hour's walk for a normal person, but couldn't make it to the health center. The pressure from walking gave way to the baby delivering by the roadside at 1 a.m. A woman helper assisted to deliver the baby, tied the umbilical cord with bush vines and helped the mother and child to the health center. While the mother and child are well and expected to be discharged tomorrow, HGO Yagoma said this is just one of many cases mothers go through every day. The annual Tapa and Tattoo Cultural Festival is fast approaching. Telecom PNG today donated 15,000 kina in support of the festival. Telecom's acting CEO, Amos Tepi, today handed the check over to Ijivitari MP Richard Masere at Telecom Romana in Port Moresby.
While preparations are in full swing, donations are still flooding in for the annual Tufi Tapa and Tattoo Cultural Festival, a festival hosted by the district to showcase cultural diversity in and around Tufi.
And since we launched it, we've seen a growth in the activities of this cultural show. And we've pushing the Tapa show as our way to promote tourism within the district, but specifically the Tufi area. Tufi is renowned for its fjords, its unspoiled and pristine marine life, unspoiled ecosystem. And this is a really good tourism attraction for our international tourists who are looking to travel outside of Port Moresby and experience the wonders of the unspoiled nature that we have in Papua New Guinea.
Showing their support, Telecom PNG donated 15,000 kina toward the event. Acting CEO Amos Tepi handed the check to member for Ijivitari Richard Masere today.
For years we've done that, and this is our another sponsor again. This time more with a little bit more sponsor going in, because we've seen people need telecom services into the areas as well. So our point of presence is important, and that's reason why our sponsorship is going a long way.
In thanking Telecom Ijivitari MP, Richard Masere said Telecom's donation is encouraging as he has plans to expand telecommunication services into his district in the future.
I want to show the management and the board of Telecom that as we progress forward, one of our objectives is to open up telecommunication within the district. Telecom PNG provides services to remotest places as well. And those places that we can't put mobile services, we use VSAT to provide their services, and voice and data as well. And main centers, we more focus on the mobile as well as fixed and voice, and a few other services that goes to nationwide.
Telecom had been a partner of this show in the past year, donating 5,000 kina last year. This weekend's Tapa and Tatu Festival will be the third since the launch in November 2018.
Of Telecom PNG and the board of Telecom PNG for their generous support towards the Tufi Tapa and Tatu Cultural Festival.
The festival is held every second week of November, and this year's show will take place this weekend on the 14th and the 15th of this month.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2860 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2785, $0.3781 Australian dollars, $0.2275 euro, and 28.65 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee and copper closed higher, cocoa closed lower. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 262.95 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 109.16 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 107.07 points higher. National EMTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. UPNG ended its 65th graduation ceremony today with the theme Achieving Education Excellence to Enhance Nation Building. The ceremony saw a total of 1,126 students graduate from the university.
Graduation at the country's highest learning institution was prolonged by the COVID-19 pandemic, but eventually started on Monday, 9th of November.
Mary P.Y.
Sleepless nights and restless days paid off for these 1,129 graduates over the last 3 days.
Also be self-employed.
The School of Business and Public Policy was the first school to graduate its 398 students on Monday. Day 2 had 2 sessions. The School of Humanities and Social Sciences had its 207 students graduating in the morning, while the School of Natural and Physical Sciences in the afternoon, with a total of 128 students. After 3 days of conferring of degrees, the university's 65 graduation ended today, with 111 students graduating from the School of Law in the morning and 294 from the School of Medicine and Health Sciences in the afternoon. Much attention was on the graduates, but parents, guardians and friends proudly stood by them as well. They too were part of the journey.
I'm feeling very grateful today
Right now I'm with my daddy, the proudest guy ever. He's the man behind everything. He's the man.
For those that sadly passed on, their families were there to receive their mambus. In the case of late Wilma Ais, in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, a father and 2 children received their degree. 2020 may have started out tough due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but for these 1,129 graduates and their families, they have ended the year on a high note. Yana Zoiri, National EMTV News.
CPL Group subsidiary Jacks of PNG today launched a first-of-its-kind design competition, creating a pathway for aspiring artists or designers to expose their talents. CPL Group CEO Sir Mahesh Patel officially launched the competition today.
Talent is a pursued interest. Anything one practices, they can do. With this objective, Jacks of PNG launched its design competition to encourage participation and engagement with interested participants nationwide.
There's been a very few designers who've made commercial success out of it. There's a couple of brands up there, Sarah Todd being the first one that did design for us. And then Wandi, which is a New Guinea native, that's the second design that's come online. So what we want to do by launching the Design PNG concept today is to find more Wandis, find more Sarah Todds of the world. It's not restricted to Port Moresby. We want it nationwide because we know that there's a lot of talent out there.
There are no age limits to the entries, so anybody can enter simply by sending in their designs with a short 100-word write-up describing or telling a story about the design itself.
Draw a Kondo drum and it's a Kondo drum. Or you can draw a Garamut, it's a Garamut. I think basically what we're trying to see is where the inspiration and stories behind the designs. As these designs must have a storyboard. So that's basically part of the creativity of the design.
We need to be culturally very sensitive. As we know, in Papua New Guinea, we've got deep-rooted cultures and heritage. So any of that designs used, you must seek approval from, either the clan or a particular tribe or any sort of approvals that's required, because we want to make sure we protect intellectual property. We want to make sure we respect the customs and the culture.
Jacks of PNG's design competition is also an avenue for the retail outlet to score designers for their merchandise. Local fashion designer and owner of New Guinea native Nwandit Amini Korimbo, who's currently running a corporate engagement with Jacks of PNG, encouraged members of the public to take advantage of this competition and expose their talents.
In the grassroots level, in the middle class, in the high class, a lot of people have the artistic ability, God-given ones that are not shown yet. This is an opportunity that Jacks is giving you to show out those talents that you have.
With up to 10,000 kina worth of prize money to be given away to 5 of the best designers, interested participants can visit any CPL outlets to pick up entry forms. The competition is now open and will run for 5 weeks. Winners will be announced on January 13.
A young man who began making wooden furniture from shipping pallets several years ago says furniture makers like him need support to help their businesses grow. Brian Harumbu makes furniture sets and sells them in Lae.
Brian Harumbu works out of this small yard where his family lives. He began making furniture from timber pallets several years ago after he bought a load for 5 kina. He has perfected his art and now makes furniture sets.
Mas 29 years belum lah. Nam to lu palet to salil Nestle. To ke mi ko pipe kina palet kami meeting misla chair mi lugin lo.
And these sets are selling for 400 kina each. He says he's raising money for his daughter in grade 8 who's graduating in a few weeks.
Wait lem. Or buying chair na mo buy nulo palet na.
Me at house te walking blow me got table on top la house with double table and I got all sit down lem.
But getting the capital to grow his business is difficult. High living costs in Lae means that whatever he gets in a week is spent on living expenses. Brian hopes to grow his business, and he says if you have a skill, use it.
Yeah, look like you see making.
Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani has the details.
Thank you, Helen. Fairfax wins Women's Volleyball Championship and some news in cricket. Join me for the details in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To the indoor volleyball BSP national titles, in the women's, Fairfax have unseated NCD to snatch the 2020 honours. They beat the fellow city team 3-2 in the best of 5. The last time these two teams faced off, it was NCD who dethroned Fairfax. Hula and Makarupu villages in Central Province are currently hosting a Talent ID tournament coordinated and run by Cricket PNG. The Talent ID department is there to scout potentials under the Player Pathways program. Cricket PNG's Talent ID department is running a T20 competition in the Rugby district of Central Province. 8 villages are participating in this tournament, including Hula, Makarupu, Keapara, Alukuni, among others. The tournament is part of Cricket PNG's Player Pathway program. Cricket PNG Talent ID manager Rodney Maha stated there is so much raw talent in the rural areas, and this tournament is a great program in giving a pathway to the untapped potential. He stated a number of players have been scouted during this tournament and looks forward to announcing the names when competition ends. The tournament is currently underway in Hula and Makarupu villages and will see its finals tomorrow. Hula is currently leading in Pool A and Keapara in Pool B. And Trukai Sports continues with golf and Super Rugby. Those stories after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To golf, world number 2 Jon Rahm is gearing up for the unique Masters beginning this week.
A tradition unlike any other, taking the audacious route of skipping across the pond at the 16th hole at Augusta National.
Keep on going. Come on.
Every player does it during every practice round before the Masters. None do it better than Jon Rahm though, especially when it's his birthday.
Do it. Yeah, pretty nice birthday present. Can't complain. Hit my normal tee shot to 2 feet and then skipped it and made it.
But if you think that was good, here's how it gets better. It's his second hole-in-one in as many days.
Oh yeah. Other way around, Bill. And we didn't know it went in. All we saw is this. And that's it. There were a couple people on the green, and I didn't know until we got in there, basically got to the green.
The skipping over the pond is tried every year. Some fail, some nail. Not bad from Martin Keimer, but Rahm's is something else. 4 skips across the water, curling right across the green to drop straight into the cup.
You don't see people skipping it and actually hitting it on the green very often, and to make it to the back pin, I mean, clearly we're all pretty shocked.
The world number 2 clearly in some form as he chases his first green jacket.
To Super Rugby, the latest start in 5 years, a day's game and a grand final. They are all features of Super Rugby for 2021, with confirmation of Trans-Tasman Games still to come.
These are some of the more unforgettable images of the COVID sporting landscape. A heaving, sold-out Eden Park returning crowds back in June, starting with a day game.
What sort of requests did you put in to get all your games afternoon kickoffs?
Look, we pushed pretty hard.
Clearly earlier this year people voted with their feet for afternoon kickoffs.
They did, and it's getting a balance.
That balancing act means accommodating fans and broadcasters. The Blues have 2 Sunday afternoon kickoffs. Overall, there's 4 daytime matches. The key feature, a final hosted by the top finishing team.
We've listened to our fans and our players. An opportunity to have a final at the end of the round robin was really important.
And yes, All Blacks will be on show from week 1 for the whole competition. What about including the Aussies?
I think what this gives is it gives a main course, if you like. You get a good dessert with the Australians.
The PAV isn't cooked just yet. The Australians confirmed their local super competition late today, with no mention of the likelihood of Trans-Tasman Games.
It's important to have a second component, and we think that by the middle of the year, we hope that travel and isolation restrictions will open up.
Financially, to have dates and a local competition locked in here is a relief.
We're holding on. We've got some reserves that we can fall back on if there was, say, another outbreak, but it's not rivers of gold. People want an event. They don't just want a rugby game. The onus is on us, and we can't be complacent. We've got a history of it in teams from this part of the world.
It appears COVID has certainly made some in rugby sit up and take note.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Helen will be back with the weather report. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Sunny and fine during the day with evening drizzles in Port Moresby. Fine sunny weather in Daru, Kerema and Popondetta, and a shower or two, then fine weather in Alotau.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the way it is this Wednesday, 11th of November 2020. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.